2009. So this has been going on for about 7-8 years?
It's been going on, well, basically 2, 4, 6, 7 years, yes, 7 years.
So why this is James Giovannetti, the Orangeville Police Association president, and this is?
Richard Lawson, and I'm a volunteer here at the door.
And so these gentlemen are part and parcel of what happens here at the door. You run this event how many times a year? Or is it annually?
Well, it's once a year where the police are here taking part in it, but for many weeks, Richard has some competitions going on to get the best of the kids, correct?
Every 2 weeks, what we do is we run a competition in here. And they come in and they're challenged to use pool as the basis for interaction with each other. And pool is a fantastic game for young people because you don't have to be an expert in pool. Sometimes when you're playing competition, it isn't that you're better than the other person, it's the fact that they defeat themselves. And all of a sudden you'll find that people move up in the competition because of the fact that they just happen to be at the right spot at the right time.
So James, your involvement in this, talk a little bit about that and how the Orangeville Police Service and the Orangeville Police Association supports this program.
Well, a lot of our officers like to come in and spend some time with the youth, and my involvement just kind of happened by fluke because I kind of took a liking to the door and spent quite a bit of time in here and grew a relationship with the kids, and Richard talked with me about it and thought it was a great idea. So it just kind of went from there. It's been very successful.
And we see a lot of the guys, a lot of the volunteer, the auxiliary police hanging out. There we go, waving over there. Hey, are you winning? All right, he's winning. A lot of these guys come by and donate their time, not just with other things in town, but certainly for this. James, the impact on the kids. I mean, you're on the streets. The guys are on the streets. Programs like this, does it help the youth in terms of their day-to-day? You know, people want to know, is it keeping the kids out of trouble? Does it give them opportunity? Does it provide perhaps an insight into what life could be, not in terms of crime or having to deal with their homelessness, etc.?
Well, I think that a lot of kids that come here come from varied backgrounds. We have some kids that have come from very stable homes, some kids that are coming from broken homes, unstable homes, maybe even situations that aren't safe for them. So when they're coming here on a Friday and Saturday night, they're provided with food, they're provided with drink, they're provided with safe activities, but more importantly, they're provided with mentorship. So they have all these adults here that are willing to sit and listen to them in a non-judgmental way, and it provides someone for these kids to trust and someone for them to get advice from when they really need it. And I can't even quantify the number of lives this place has changed over the years.
We talked earlier with Jonathan Smith, the director of the door, and asked him, you know, what's the one thing people in town could do to help the door out, whether it's money or time. And time again, with everyone else I've talked to, they talk about the term mentorship. Why is that so key, more so than, let's say, funding?
Well, there's an old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. And what the door provides is that village in a very small scale. And the kids are seeing the same adults and the same older youth time and time again. So they're developing those relationships, and it's helping the adults and even the older youth help shape the...
I think we got a winner.
It helps the youth form relationships over time, and what it's doing is it's actually shaping their future and their growth. And that's really why I think it's so important.
So this relationship, as much as it impacts the kids, how does it help the police officers in their day-to-day in interacting with these kids?
Well, it's funny you ask about that, because about 3 days ago I ran into a kid that used to be here, and I can't call him a kid anymore because he's 23, is married, has a child, and this was someone who did get into a lot of trouble with the police when he was younger, but being here in a situation where they felt safe interacting with police officers, it built that personal relationship. And because of that, I found over the years, and as other officers, that those personal relationships encourage the kids to come to us when they're having problems at home, if they're aware of criminal activity, or even if they just want some advice on something.
So these kids will turn to the police when there's times of need.
Exactly.
We talk about supporting and mentorship. You had wanted to comment about that.
What James is, I agree with everything that James is talking about, and he's saying it in such a way. When you come into here, you'll find that you've got the 16, 17-year-old kids, and in actual fact, you've got the older people, and the older people are giving some form of guidance to some of these young people. Some of these young people only know kids on the street. They only know the guys driving by in the cars and that type of thing. But in here, they see what life is really all about, and it works out very, very well for everybody. It works out well for us because we're giving, and it works well for them because they're receiving it. This is not what you call. Anyways, that's basically the young people of today. That's all it is. But it is a very safe spot for the kids to come. They know that when they're in this establishment, there are rules, there are regulations, and they follow them. And this is why we end up having the young lady that you see over here. She basically is the one that makes sure that people follow the rules that are set out.
And that you're referring to Jonathan's wife?
Yes, Nicole. And the rules here are very strict, and the kids, as you see, survive with it.
And they respond?
Oh, absolutely, and all in a positive fashion. Now, when we started back in 2003, we were dealing with young people that actually, we had situations where they would take the cue and they break it and they go after each other. They did not understand sportsmanship. They did not, at the end of a competition, they did not shake hands. They usually were fighting. But now you look around and you see that in the competitions, they're shaking hands, they're accepting each other, they're just performing as good citizens per se.
James, finally, personally, how has this impacted you?
It's been very rewarding over the years because I've seen so many youth come from a very troubled background and struggling either in school, dabbling in drugs, criminal activity, and now seeing how the door has changed their lives because they've gone from, you know, people that were really troubled and struggling to people that are now thriving. So it's been very personally rewarding to see how these kids have flourished.
That's amazing stuff. Well, that's it for now. Listen, we want to thank Jonathan and his wife, Nicole, for letting us come in and show the people here at home about the door. If you got a chance, drop by, say hello, and donate some time. We'll be right back. That was an amazing evening. Let me just say this off the hop. I strongly encourage anyone in town, in the region, if you get a chance to go by the door, check out the programs and events that are going on there. It was amazing to see what the youth are getting involved with and how the programs impact the youth and do make it, truly make a difference in their lives and their day-to-day activities. So